Hello everyone, hope you're having the most wonderful day today. Welcome to the Film Insight channel. For today's video, we're going to discuss some more of the worst restaurants to be featured on Kitchen Nightmares and reveal how they're doing now. So, sit back, relax, and without further ado, let's get right into the content, guys. Spin a Yarn Steakhouse. For a season 5 episode, Gordon Ramsay heads over to Spin a Yarn Steakhouse to bring it back on its feet. Owned by a Greek immigrant named Saki, he purchased the restaurant back in 1995 and was met with success for several decades. On top of having a thriving business, he got married to one of his waitresses, who he now has a daughter named Michaela with. Though as time went on, their profits dwindled down, so the owners thought it'd be a good idea to remodel the place. Unfortunately, since his wife Jennifer was terrible at budgeting, she spent $950,000 on the renovations rather than their budgeted $300,000, which is 300% more than they planned. Despite giving the place a makeover, business continued to dwindle down, and the owners put themselves in a deeper pool of debt. Not knowing how else to move forward, Saki and his wife called out to Ramsay for some much needed help. Upon his eventual arrival, the famous chef is greeted by Erica, the host, and some formally dressed waiters wearing tuxedos and bow ties. As a little joke, Ramsay makes them pretend to carry a coffin since he believes they look like funeral directors. We have to agree. Meeting with Saki, he shows the Kitchen Nightmares host the renovations they made, which leaves him feeling shocked. The bathroom's walls are covered with $50 tiles, they have a pricey fireplace, a bar top made of marble, and a lot more ridiculously priced items. Having seen enough, Ramsay attempts to order a collection of dishes that smelled and tasted ghastly. Speaking with the head chef Victor, he admits that the food is poor, but that he's simply following the recipes that he's given. Returning later on, the famous chef observes the dinner service, which frankly was a complete disaster. Aside from the kitchen being heavily understaffed, they don't have an expediter or sous chef, which is why a lot of the food is being sent back. Inspecting the walk-in, Ramsay finds raw meat stored next to cooked meat, moldy produce, and smelly rotting chicken. When showing this to the owners, Jennifer gets so overwhelmed that she rushes to the bathroom to puke. Fast forward to the end of the episode, Ramsay successfully mends any tensions between the married couple, deep cleans the kitchen, and revamps the menu, effectively giving Spin a Yarn a second chance. By the end of the episode, the restaurant was converted into a real steakhouse with fresh meat and delicious prime rib. Post Kitchen Nightmares, the business was met with great success thanks to Ramsay's new menu. While a lot of the restaurant's regulars weren't happy with the changes made, many of the new customers loved the prime rib. Still open to this day, since May of 2012, the owners decided to get a new head chef to improve their quality even further. Generally speaking, the reviews on Yelp and TripAdvisor are pretty good, but some complain about the food and staff from time to time. We're glad that the married couple are on better terms at the very least. Sabatiellos. In a season 2 episode, Gordon Ramsay heads over to Sabatiellos in Stamford, Connecticut to rescue it from closure. Owned by Sammy Settembre, he decided to purchase the business to fulfill his lifelong dream of owning a restaurant. While business was pretty smooth in the beginning, things have slowed down significantly, which is the main reason why Sabatiellos is close to shutting down. That aside, the head waiter David believes that the owner's venomous behavior is the main reason why the place is suffering. Not only is he rude to the staff and customers alike, but Settembre blames his employees for the restaurant's problems. Being $1 million in debt and not knowing how else to move forward, the owner called out to Ramsay for some aid. When he finally arrives, the famous chef is greeted by Settembre, who shows him around the restaurant. Ramsay thinks that both the decor and the host are nice and warm, which is a change of pace compared to the previous episodes. Hoping to taste test the food, Ramsay orders the soup of the day, which was dreadful, a lasagna that tasted synthetic, and a New York strip steak that was very tough, leaving him feeling disappointed. Meeting with the head chef Jose later on, he reveals that the soup is several days old, the lasagna was made the week before, and the steak was not Aberdeen Angus as advertised. In response to all this, Settembre makes a ton of excuses as to why the food is bad and essentially gaslights the famous chef, saying that he's being too critical. Inspecting the kitchen soon after, he notices that it's pretty spotless, which yet again is pretty uncommon. Although when he takes a look at the fridge, Ramsay finds raw and cooked chicken stored next to one another. After getting the head chef to rearrange the meats, the famous chef watches the dinner service later on. Like with most restaurants, the service was a complete disaster with tons of customers sending the piss poor food back. Upon tasting the food for himself, Settembre claimed that it wasn't too bad, but Ramsay highlights that it's disgusting. What's more, the owner confronts one of the customers in a very rude manner and refuses to apologize despite his embarrassed girlfriend Lauren's request to do so. Following the awful service, Ramsay hopes to make the next one better by introducing 2 new specials, being homemade lasagna and filet mignon that's carved at the table. Once again, things were pretty disastrous, with food being sent back for being overcooked and Jose failing to communicate with the kitchen staff. Absolutely disappointed by how incompetent the Sabatiellos team was, Ramsay decided to introduce a completely different menu. Picking recipes that were a lot simpler, the famous chef hoped to convert the business into an Italian steakhouse. Presenting the staff with the new dishes, they seemed to love how delicious they were and expressed excitement to implement them. Despite Jose demonstrating how useless he was throughout the relaunch, the owner came in clutch and brought the kitchen back on its feet. Post-kitchen nightmares, it seems like Sabatiellos wasn't able to pull through since the owner had an immense pool of debt. According to Septembre himself, he believes that the place closed down since he wasn't given expensive equipment as a part of the makeover. Incapable of learning from his mistakes, he tried to open another restaurant called Sabatiellos Gourmet Pizza, but this closed down as well. He was also arrested in 2009 for vandalizing the building of the restaurant he tried to open since he was angry about being evicted. Nowadays, Septembre works as a chef at a gas station that also serves food, which sounds like a fitting end to the story. The Mixing Bowl. As our final entry, we're going to cover a restaurant that Gordon Ramsay tried to rescue called The Mixing Bowl. Owned by Billy and Lisa Galletti, their business was met with great success for over a decade, but is no longer capable of competing with the restaurants in the surrounding area. While Billy hopes to keep the restaurant going for years to come, his wife prefers that they shut things down permanently. With their marriage being on the rocks due to the pressure and the business close to failing, the owners called out to Ramsay for some guidance. When he finally arrives, he notices that the building is completely empty with no bookings whatsoever. Meeting with Mike, he explains that the restaurant's theme is healthy food, but Ramsay hilariously points out that he might not be eating salads himself. Based on the decor and table setting alone, the famous chef can tell that the business is on its last legs since everything's in poor condition. Hungry, Ramsay orders some crab cakes that aren't fresh, zucchini pancakes that are bland, and a salmon dish that smells too much like garlic, leaving him with a worse first impression. Heading into the kitchen to confront the owner about his meal, he expresses that everything was awful except for the crab cakes, which doesn't say much since they were old. Returning for the dinner service later on, the famous chef is shocked that they only have 3 bookings. How depressing. Oddly, Ramsay sees Mike, the general manager, giving customers coupons for 50% off, which he reveals he's been doing for the last 8 years. Admittedly, even though they did promotions for almost every holiday with a wide range of discounts, it ultimately did nothing to help out the business. Sitting down with the owners, he lets them know that they have the option to close the restaurant now and be done with it. Billy is set on saving the business, which seemed to further disappoint Lisa, who was looking forward to being done with the place. Coming back the following day, Ramsay meets with the staff and shows them a map of the surrounding area. Years ago, when the restaurant first opened, there were only 4 restaurants in the area, but there are currently 41. Ramsay highlights that none of them are particularly healthy, so he suggests that they fully lean into the healthy theme. To test Billy's cooking abilities, Ramsay gets the owner to create a dish using 10 fresh ingredients. Putting together a delicious salmon-based meal, the famous chef points out that it can go on the menu alongside the specials he would implement for the next service. Overall, things went pretty smoothly in the kitchen, but Mike was acting very unprofessional, pointing at guests and having full-blown conversations with them. Following the service, it's revealed that Mike collects half of the server's tips without doing much of anything, which is very upsetting. He claims that he's entitled to the money since the servers wouldn't have gotten tips without his help. Post-kitchen nightmares, their customer base went up significantly, and consequently so did their profits. Sadly, this wasn't enough since the restaurant closed down in January of 2009, 2 years after the episode aired. A restaurant called Greek Delight opened up in its place, but it only managed to stay open till 2017. Well, that'll be all for today's video here on the channel. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to drop a massive like down below and comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more content like this, and turn on those sweet bell notifications for instant access to our content. Have a good one, guys.